Hey, VC here. So we're going to break down the Into the Lion's Den Legion crit. Now, whatever you thought this was going to be, or whatever your feelings towards this is, it was a huge success. Everyone was hyped. Everyone rode safe. The course was fantastic. The racing was great. So, I was really stoked to be a part of it. Now, the schedule had 3 races, the amateur and then the pro women and pro men. Now, the amateur race, the one you're watching now, is combined 1 through 3, both men's and women's, which sounds like it would be a recipe for disaster, but it actually wasn't. There were no crashes. Everyone was pretty safe. It was hard. It was fast. People were trying to get up the road. I'm not totally sure why they didn't have an amateur women's, division, but in the end, Matt from Tarun, Tarun went 1-2, so he grabbed the win. They got to spray a bunch of champagne, and so that was the men's amateur. Now, they picked the amateur women separately, so this is your top 3. I can't find in the results their names. And then we move on to the pro women, which the pro women had a stacked field like no other. I mean, literally some of the best in the world racing. It was very fast, but I was getting ready for my race, so I don't have really any footage of how that race went down. It was an exciting race. Again, it was really crazy to have amateur women and World Tour racing in the same spot. But Olivia Ray from Rally Cycling took home the $15,000 for the win. These top 3 women are national champions in their nation. It was crazy. So now we're going to move on to the men, and I got to talk to some of the racers.
What are your expectations coming off of racing Europe crits to this?
Expectations are, to win. I mean, I never go to a race to get second. That kind of sounds a little douchey, and I don't think anyone ever goes to a race thinking they want to lose. I mean, of course, can't be the guy every day, but I'm looking to have some fun. The team is excited. I'm ready, and ready to go.
Where are you at in your peak fitness for this race?
Oh God, end of the season. So we just got done with the Florida State Championship road race. So a lot of us were ready to hang it up, but we got the invitation to come here, and you can't pass up with this opportunity to race with like this kind of field. So looking forward to really just surviving and doing the best we can.
How do you think it's going to play out with these huge preems throughout the race?
It's going to be fast and stay fast. We have a long straightaway, so we're going to get up to 35 plus. I'd say every lap there's a preem on, just because it's going to be a matter of like 5 or 6 teams all wanting to go for preems, because so many of these teams aren't going to think they can win, so they're going to go for their preems early and think that's it, and then they're going to be hanging on for dear life at the end. So it's going to be really a war of attrition the entire time.
What would it feel like to beat Legion in their own race?
How would it feel?
Yeah.
Okay, if we're just playing the hypothetical game, it would feel fantastic. I don't think it's going to happen for a bunch of reasons. I don't want to rant about right now, but yeah, this is a course for them, and there's 12 of them, and that might not necessarily be our approach today. I'll say that as a team.
So, knowing that you have been the only one this year to beat Legion, do you think you can do it again?
We'll see. It's a lot different than Nationals course, but and a lot of different guys here. There's a lot of guys here who haven't raced all year, so I think it'll mix things up and it should be exciting, hopefully. But, I mean, you always hope so.
Why here? You're from LA.
Yeah.
Why Sacramento?
It's a long story, but Sacramento has been incredible with like just inviting us in and helping us get this done. Kristen Klein worked Tour California. She works for us now. Ryan Dawkins, they're from this area, so they just know. It was just easier to do it here because it was like plug and play. And I love Sacramento. It's kind of full circle, honestly, because like the first time I thought to myself that criterium racing could be a thing was 10 years ago when I raced that elite race during Tour California. And I was like, if this setup was a crit race in every crit races you went to, it was like one of the things that planted the seed. So we know that there's a massive opportunity right here. You know what I mean? Like me, the team, the staff, like everybody understands that there's a massive opportunity right now. So to get people excited about coming out and racing, and if you go downstairs, man, like the excitement that the athletes have to put a jersey on that has their name on it.
What's the idea behind these set jerseys, numbers, names? Is it to more build a brand around individual athletes like basketball or football?
That's exactly it. The model's already out there. Like the amount of, it's already happened. We see it every day. Everybody watches basketball, football, soccer, all these sports, and we already know what the model is supposed to look like. This is a test. It's a test to see like, how do we improve the sport of cycling? What works, what doesn't work? How do we build heroes, right? Everyone's not going to relate to me. I'm not going to be everyone's favorite athlete, right? And that's okay. But there's 100 guys in the peloton. Somebody is gonna touch a different demographic. You know what I mean? And like ultimately, that's what makes this sport so incredible.
So now we're jumping into the men's pro race. It was 70 minutes, average speed 30 miles an hour. Max speed by some reached 43 miles an hour in the sprint. So we're going to break this down, and I'm going to try to answer a lot of the questions and explain why this was different, why this is important, sort of break down the race a little bit. I've got multiple cameras, so it's not just about my experience. I'm going to show you also the last lap from Lucas. So anyways, we're going to kind of dive into this. Let's start with the course. Okay, so we have about just over a mile course in Sacramento around the Capitol. This is the start finish. The crowd, so crazy. Turn one was everything was really safe. Everything was super wide. So right here you can see Sharon Smith to the left. We got Kyle Cooper. He was on our team, right there in the red. And so you fly down this straight here, and then you come into turn two. And then this had like a tailwind section a bit. So this was probably the fastest section, at least for me. I felt like this was probably the hardest part of the course. But then you fly into turn three, and here, if you're on the back or on the front, you can dip that line really fast. And so even though we averaged 30 miles an hour, here's turn four, we averaged 30 miles an hour for 70 minutes. It wasn't that difficult to stay in the group because of how fast everything was. The turns weren't really slow, so you were just holding this really high average speed. So as the course goes, it's not very technical. It was super fast, very wide. It raced really safe. I didn't think it was gonna, but it did. So we have Justin Williams here. Look at the determination on his face. This guy wants to win so bad. And I mean, look, they hyped the shit out of this event. Everyone is expecting Legion to do well. They stacked the field, right? They had two teams. They really want to do well here. So tons of pressure on them, as always, right? I mean, when you're the top dog, there's a lot of pressure. All right, so let's talk about the teams, because that was a really unique thing they did here. They sort of had this like basketball player, football player type deal where you had a number on your back and your name, which, first of all, why cycling hasn't adopted a permanent number system blows my mind. I come from motocross. You get a number when you sign up for the division, and that's your number for life. And so I don't understand why cycling still has pinned bib numbers. Makes no sense. And so them being able to go outside of the UCI, outside of a sanctioned event, and do what they think is better, I really like this permanent number system for riders. We probably have to go out to a 3-digit thing. It can't just be 2 digits. But either way, everyone has their own number on them, and then you have your name on the back. So for like branding and hype and telling stories around riders, I think it's amazing. Also, the thing is that you represent a city. So you don't have to come and be like, oh, well, I'm on Ride Bikes Bro. Like, I have to be on this team. That team gets accepted. You know, we had Cam Piper. He's not on our team. He'll never be on our team. But we were able to bring him on and have him represent Boston, right? We were representing the city of Boston. They had Miami, they had LA, they had all these different cities. And so even though we really have no affiliation with Boston whatsoever, that's sort of the premise, is that you're going to represent a city or an area versus a specific trade team. So there were 16 teams, 6 riders per team, and again, you're representing a city. But here's what's really cool about it, is it's like an all-star team. You can have whatever 6 riders you want, And so ours personally had myself, we had Kenny and Eric. They're on our team this year, but they're actually going to do their own thing next year. Then we were able to have Kyle Cooper. He's coming onto our team next year, but he's currently not. And then we were able to get Cam Piper, who's UCI Team Illuminate. Like, we're never going to be able to get him on our team. But for this event, we were able to build sort of an all-star cast of exactly who we wanted. And we could have brought on anyone we wanted, right? So I thought that was a really cool concept to be able to put together a roster of 6 riders that might not ever be able to race together or not have the opportunity outside of a special event like this. Now, spots here are highly coveted. It's really, it's a high value spot. And so when we got the ability to race here, look, I'm a 2. I don't think there's many other 2s in this race, right? And so, you know, yeah, I didn't want this to come off as like I got a privileged spot because of my YouTube status. So the team we brought here, I wanted to make sure we were actually going to be competitive, that we weren't going to get dropped. I took this race extremely serious, knowing how many people wanted to be a part of this. Now, let's talk a little bit about the prizes. This is what was so crazy about this event. You can see the purse breakdown, the preems. I mean, so much money up for grabs. So with this kind of money on the line, I personally thought this race was going to be a shit show, that people were going to be crashing each other, chopping wheels, yelling, cussing, but it did not go that way. And so here we're on board with Lucas. He's going for, I think, a $1,000 preem. This might have actually been a $4,000 preem. So a preem is that, you know, whoever crosses this line gets that money. So you can see these guys are flying towards this. And this is just in the middle of the race. To the left, you have Jeff Linder. He's making that dash for that cash. And he gets pinched hard on the barriers. And I don't think Lucas got to that guy in time. But that was for $4,000, I believe. And so look at what it does to the field. Just strung out. I mean, this is crazy what it was doing to the field because there's so much cash on the line. The racing was so positive the whole time, and I did not think that was going to be the case because of the egos that were here and also the prize money. There's $50,000 for the pro men and pro women, and then like I showed you, all those preems. So I had expected people just like, you know, road rage, Sega Genesis type style where you got bats and chains and hitting and punching and just this whole, you know, crashing everyone out for this money because there's a lot of money on the line. But it wasn't that way at all. I've been involved with way sketchier crits for a t-shirt made out of cardboard. And so I don't know if it was like this unique team dynamic that made people feel different, or if it was something new or special, or the fact that everyone kind of wanted to eat Legion's lunch. I think most of the people just were sort of racing together to take as much of Legion's money as possible. Now let's talk a little bit about how Legion raced this. We're on board with Lucas. He races for Hagens Berman. Lucas is your U23 national crit champion, so we've got a great wheel to be on here. So Legion had 2 teams, right? They had A team, B team, which they definitely got a little bit of heat for that and controversy because they stacked the field. But what they ended up doing was the B team really worked a ton in the middle of the race, going for moves, covering moves. Right here, just want to mention, that is your current U.S. Pro National Champion. Luke there, I mean, the hitters, crazy, right? But so anyway, Legion had their B team on the front for pretty much the first half of the race. Then they switched to their A team and tried to control the race, which they're just really good at doing. Now, what I found interesting was, again, how fast this race was. The surges, the attacks, you just didn't really feel it because you're going 30 miles an hour all the time. We literally averaged 30 miles an hour for this race. It was bananas. Here's 3 of our guys, Kenny to the left, Eric in the middle, Kyle Cooper, who Kyle got 17th, and he is your current Masters state champion. So Kyle there to the right, dude, congratulations to that guy. He's literally a doctor, and he raced phenomenal here. So while Legion is controlling the race as much as they can, you know, I'm kind of just sitting on the very back. What was interesting about this course is that on the very back actually was easier for me. It was an easier ride because of how you could swoop the turns. And so there was a couple spots where, you know, you could be 10 bike lengths off and then just take a nice turn and then catch right back up. But I want to let you hear the atmosphere, hear the crowd, because that's what's so special about this event. Now I'm going to let the last lap play out, but this was the only sketchy bit, is that the race was supposed to start at 5. We ended up starting probably around 5:20, so it got really dark. I mean, really dark. I had clear lenses on, and by the last couple laps, I could see nothing. And when you're racing at this kind of speeds, you got to be right on the people's wheel and everything's snaking around. So, there's definitely room improvement for this. Maybe a full lit course I think would be really cool. But here's my main takeaway from this, is what this felt like is Legion planting a seed to make USA cycling a pinnacle, a destination, a thing that athletes can strive to find their place and that be it. Because right now it seems like cycling is all about moving you to Europe. No matter how well you do in America, who cares? Europe is the destination. And that shouldn't be the case. There should be athletes that don't have to travel across the pond to make an athlete style living. And so being a part of this event, it felt like, man, this could be the future, where you have branded athletes with their name and their number, and USA Cycling is something that you actually can achieve and make a good living at. But personally, I'll just end off with my experience was amazing. I finished the race. I got 67th. 69 people finished out of the 96, so I didn't get dropped, and I gained a lot of confidence from this. I actually felt like I raced maybe the best crit race I've ever raced this year. It's one of those things where, again, I felt like maybe I didn't belong and that this spot was too valuable for me, so I took it really serious. I dug deep, and dude, I was proud as shit of my performance. Now, the crowd was phenomenal. The amount of people screaming kept me so locked in and so motivated to keep going. Now I'm going to leave you off with basically Lucas, his full last lap audio and all, so you can kind of see how that race played out. Also, you can check out Corey's live stream. He did live stream. I think it's on Twitch. I'll link it in the description. But again, I just I didn't know what to expect from this event. I thought it was going to be an absolute shit show. It was not. It was not a shit show. I think that there's room for improvement, as anything, but this was truly planting the seed for change for the USA cycling scene. I really believe that. So we're going to finish off with the last lap of this race, but I want you to pay attention to something. Winning is not guaranteed, even though Legion brought all the hitters, and they had 2 teams. Luke Lamperti, he is your current USA Pro champion. He got second, and Lucas, the camera that will be on, he got 4th. Iman Lucas was up there too. I mean, there was a lot of guys that almost won this. So it wasn't, Justin wins the race, but that wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't just like, oh, we're just going to let Legion win. I mean, everyone was going for this. So we're going to go ahead and let the last lap play. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I answered some of the questions, that were surrounding this event. Whatever you think of it, it was a huge success. So thanks for watching, and as always, Vegan Cyclist. Yeah.
Make it!